very much. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for your service in my administration. Thank you for your support for Hillary. Thank you for being my friend for the years that you and Tom have given to Iowa and to America. I thank you. And I also want to thank Tom and Christy Vilsack, who've been wonderful to Hillary and were wonderful for you. He was one of the 2 or 3 best governors with whom I served the whole time I was president. Thank you, Congressman Boswell, for being here earlier. I want to thank all of you who are here, and I want to thank all of you who have signs, but there's one guy back in the back over there that represents the group I belong to. It says Husbands for Hillary. There he is. Look, give him. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Iowa was good to me. You voted for me twice. A good, healthy margin. I've already met a lot of people just in the few hours Hillary and I have been here together whom I saw first in the Great Flood in 1993. And we were sharing stories about that. I was denied the opportunity to participate in this vigorous thing you call the caucus because Tom Harkin also ran for president that year. I don't know that I understand it entirely, but one thing I do know is you don't get any votes no matter how well you're doing in the polls unless somebody shows up, hangs around, and hangs in there for you. So what I'm here to do is to ask you to do that for Hillary. And I just want to make a couple of points and bring her on. Ruth went through a lot of what Hillary did with her life before we moved to Washington. When I first met her in 1971, she was already in public service. She was working to provide legal services to poor people in Connecticut where we were going to law school. She took an extra year in law school to work on the problems of children. She turned down all these big fancy law firm offers and went to work for the Children's Defense Fund when we got out of law school. When she came to Arkansas to be with me, she started a legal services program. She started an organization to advocate for the interests of families and children. She brought a preschool program all the way from Israel to Arkansas to teach parents to be their kids' first teachers. It's now in 26 American states, but the biggest one still the one she started. She brought rural health care to thousands of people in the rural parts of our state, oversaw an effort to upgrade the education standards. When I ran for president a decade later, a national expert said that our state was one of 2 making the most progress in the previous 10 years. She did all that with no public office.
Sorry, you gotta move.
When I became president, you all know that we tried and failed to pass health care reform. I think that's a good thing, not a bad thing. I'd rather be caught trying to do something that needs to be done than hanging around shooting the wounded when it doesn't happen. She represented America in 82 countries. And I still have people talk to me about the speech all over the world. You know, my work now takes me to many countries all around the world, and people talk to me about the speech she gave in Beijing saying women's rights were human rights. And just last fall, I was in a little village in East Asia, and this woman came up to me and said, "I'll never forget the speech your wife gave. It changed things for us. We realized our children could have a different future." As a Democrat, I love this election because I don't have to be against anybody. I like the other people running for the nomination. If you, Senator Biden, Senator Dodd, Governor Richardson, they've rendered enormous service to this country. They deserve our respect and our thanks, and I admire them. I'm always interested, and I like to see what Senator Edwards and Senator Obama have to say. I have nothing bad to say about anybody. If you want to hear something bad, go someplace else. I like them. But I'll tell you, So this is a freebie for us. We actually, how many times have you been to an election where you had to vote for somebody because you were against somebody else? Now you got it easy. All you have to do is decide, who do you think will be the best president? And here's what I want to say to you. I'd be here tonight if she asked me if we weren't married. I would be here because when I was eligible to vote, the 18-year-olds didn't have the vote yet, so I couldn't vote until I was 21. In 2008, I will celebrate my 40th year as a voter. And in those 40 years, tumultuous, fascinating years for America, she is by a long stretch the best qualified non-incumbent I have ever had a chance to vote for president in my entire life. And that's reason one. Reason two is the president, and I have some notion of the challenges that face us, all the way from the economic and health care and education and credit card debt strains on ordinary families to restoring America's standing in the world. You want someone to be president who knows what it's like for real people. So here's the second thing I want to say to you that she really can't say for herself. You'll never have anybody in the White House that cares more about how every decision she makes and every problem she faces affects you and the people you know and care about. When Hillary ran for re-election in 2006 in New York, she ran in a state that John Kerry carried over George Bush. But of our 62 counties, George Bush won 40 of those 62 counties. In those 40 counties, Hillary got about 60% of the vote. And I had person after person after person say, I voted for your wife because she's the only public official I know that ever actually did something for me. And I said, well, like what? And they would have an answer. The other day, I was playing golf with some friends of mine from out of state. I was walking off the first green, and the caddy said, please don't go yet. He said, you don't know me, do you? I said, no, sir, I never met you. He said, that's because I don't really do this. I'm just trying to earn a little extra money. In my real life, I'm a New York City farmer. He said, your wife was the first person who knew after 9/11 that because of what we did on that awful day, many of us would get sick and some of us would die. And she started fighting for us on the first day, and she has never quit to this day. And because of her, some of us are alive. And because of her, our families can live in dignity even after sacrifice. I would do anything I could to make her president. That's why you should be for her, and why she'll be a great president of the United States, Senator Hillary Clinton.
If I were as smart as Bill seems to suggest I am, I would say nothing. My goodness, you've already had some wonderful speeches by some extraordinary people. My dear friend, Christy Vilsack and Congressman Boswell. And I just cannot thank Ruth Harkin enough. I have been her friend. I have admired her. What it took to be an elected prosecutor in Story County all those years ago, and she has continued with such a distinguished career, in addition to being by the side of your great senator and my friend Tom Harkin. I am thrilled to have